Today's conference on the 1988 massacre in Iran comes at a very timely moment because usually it is in this month of August that Canada, UK and the EU begin to draft the UN resolution on the human rights situation in Iran, which is then voted on at the General Assembly later on in the year. This has been an annual tradition at the UN General Assembly for at least a decade, when the international community condemns the regime's egregious human rights violations and abuses in the country. This annual UN resolution shows that everyone agrees that the human rights situation in Iran is appalling and must change for the better. But if we consider the developments in Iran since the beginning of 2019, the human rights situation is deteriorating as the regime resorts to cracking down on popular dissent, popular protest to silence the ever-growing dissent in the country. There have been reports of at least 1,500 protesters that have been killed. Thousands have been arrested during the 2019 November protests. And we have had the shooting down of a Ukrainian flight over Tehran in January 2020, which sparked more popular protests. And in recent months, there are reports of death sentences and executions of individuals who took part in the protests in recent years. Western democracies can no longer ignore this clear connection between the regime's leadership and the involvement in serious human rights violations like the 1988 massacre, which was described by Amnesty International as an ongoing crime against humanity and the worst crime in the history of the Islamic Republic. Otherwise, we will never see nor expect to see any other improvements or changes for the better. It is paramount that in the upcoming UN resolution, the General Assembly adopt a resolution to address the issues of impunity and accountability, especially in regards to the 1988 massacre. That all countries support the resolution to ensure an independent international investigation into the 1988 massacre and establish a clear accountability process in an international tribunal to prosecute those that are responsible. This should replace the article in the UN resolution adopted last year that asked the regime's judiciary to carry out this investigation, which unfortunately held no confidence because of those that were expected to lead the investigation. The UK government remains steadfast in its condemnation of the regime's human rights violations in the past year. This lends hope and encouragement to an independent investigation taking place. I know that such a measure has strong cross-party support in both houses of the UK Parliament, as well as in the Canadian House of Commons that has already declared the 1988 massacre as a crime against humanity. Parliamentarians across the globe have been united in speaking out against the inhuman atrocities, and the governments are uniting in voice to condemn and ensure accountability of actions by the regime. Madam Rajavi, we stand by you and all of those that are fighting for a free, safe Iran.